Hooray, we for Chef Boyardee. All right, let me come over here. Let me come over here. Let me go there. Let me pop this over here. Huh, Lydia's here, my mother. All right. Okay. So, yeah, good. We got one person here. All right, there's some delay happening here with the audio. There we go. That should be better now. Let me just check. Is that better now? Oh, yeah, we are synced up. We are synced up like a mofo. All right, now let's see if everything else is working. Let me come over here. All right, tab, come over here. All right, let's see. I'm gonna come here. Just look at this here. If I hit this, it's not firing through there. Okay, I don't know why. Let me just see something. If I move this up there, that disappears. But if I hit play, nope. Okay, let me move this back down here. Sorry, everybody. For some reason this week I'm having some kind of like slight technical. Hey, Bradley, thanks for tuning in, Bradley. Hang in there for a minute. I got to get my my Logic Pro working correctly here. So for a second here, I'm going to get rid of this. Delete. Yes, and then I'm just going to re-add it. I don't really understand why, but let's see. Mac OS Logic. Isn't this fun? Logic 3. Let's call it Logic 3. Okay, there we go. That's a nice infinity screen, right? Okay, we're going to go to Application Capture. We want to capture Logic Pro. Okay. There it is. Let me make it so it fits the screen. Hey, Stefan. Hang in there, bro. I'm just trying to get everything to work here. And I don't really 100% understand why it suddenly doesn't work, but I'm just going to start over. Get everything in here. Get it up to a good size. That's pretty close. Let me get it a little bigger. I think that should do it. Okay. Now, let me just make sure that everything actually works. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to go over to there. Bring this down. Hit play. There we go. All right. So now I got everything working. So theoretically, we should be good to go. Okay. So, let's see. I got to go here. All right. So, hi, Bradley. Hi, Lydia. Hi, Stefan. Tonight, we're going to be... No, I'm good. No, wait, I'm not good. I am good. How come I don't see myself in the little corner there? Do, 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 dee, 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 dee. Maybe I just don't. You guys see me in the little corner of the screen? Can't see me. Yeah, okay. Let me come back here, bring this back up, and drag me back up here. We'll just drag that down there. Okay, now I'm back. But does this dang thing still work? Let's see. Let me come here. Hit play. Is this still working? Yes. Okay, good. Good. Okay, so I'm back. I'm back. Okay. You go away and come down here. and I come up there. All right. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be looking at a song that I wrote while I was recovering from my heart surgery and my finger surgery. Oh, and I'm on that delay thing again. Damn it. Okay. Stop delaying. Okay, good. All right. Now I wonder if by doing that I screwed everything up. Oh, I see that my mouse over here froze. Maybe I got to go back and share. I think I just realized what the trick is. Okay. Sorry everybody, but this is a learning curve for me. And I just realized that I have to leave the sharing on in order for this to work. So I got to do this one more time. Oh, so sorry. Hang in there. Please don't leave. Don't leave me. Let's see. Open this up. Trash this. Yes, goodbye. Now I'm going to bring you back. Screen capture. Logic, because that's the software I use, Logic. I'm going to call this Logic 4 because this is my fourth time trying this. But now I think I got it, that I have to leave the share screen on. That's what I got to do. That is what I have to do. Doodah. All right, so I'm resizing this. And to tell you the truth, I don't know why it comes on in the jumbo size that it comes on in. That's sort of annoying as opposed to just popping and filling the screen. It has to do this sort of annoying vibe. But hopefully I won't have to do this again. And I will remember not to futz with the screen sharing. And now I'll lock that. I'll bring this back up. No, I'll drag this back down. All right. Good. All right. Good. I got it. Yeah, I'm entertaining to listen to. Yes, everybody loves a good train wreck. Okay. So here we go. Fourth time is the charm. Okay. So, I wrote a bunch of songs while I was recovering from my surgery, and during that time, I could not play. I could only write. So I Jeff Beck had passed away, and I was kind of thinking about that, and I always wanted to do a tribute to him, and so I decided I would. And I really liked the stuff that he would do with strings, also with the band and everything, but there'd be like strings in there. And I was like, I'm gonna start with that. So that's what I did. So if you look here in the beginning here, I have well, actually, let me back up, because this intro that you see here, I'm circling or I'm highlighting. That intro came later. That intro actually came after the first mix. Like, it was all done. I went and mixed it, and I came home and I went, oi, needs an intro. So I wrote this intro. But the first thing I wrote was this little string thing here. Okay. Now this looks like a bunch of, this is like a whole lot of strings. Like, this is not a string quartet, but it started as a 4-voice exercise. And Stefan, you're probably well aware of that from the Bach inventions and stuff, that, being able to write 4 parts and move them around is just it's a great exercise, and it's harmonically very satisfying. So that's what I did. I started by doing that, and then I transferred it over to an orchestra, So here I actually and I also have these piled up really weird, where I have like violas, cello, then I have violins. Although this says violin pits, but this cannot be right. Let me make sure. Let me just come over here. Doodly doo doo doo. Yep, I was wrong. Okay, here we go. This makes more sense. So down here, there's a lot of tracks in here. Just to let you know, there are 39 tracks that I ended up with. And that's a lot to manage, Back in the old days when we used to record even to 2-inch tape, you could do 24 tracks and then you'd have to start bouncing, And so, but now it's almost limitless. So so yeah, so I go for it. So here, uh, violin. This says just double, triple checking. Uh, do. Yeah, okay, good. All right, I got it. All right, good. So here we go. Violins. Gonna just solo these. Second violin, violas, and cellos. Bam. So it's 4 parts, but I doubled some stuff up. And so this was the original thing that I came up with. Check it out. Also, let me know if you can hear that. Hopefully you can hear this. I hope. Yeah, Emotion and Commotion. Yeah, that record. Oh, good. So there you go. That was that was the first thing that I wrote, and uh, yeah, basically a nice little 4-part thing, and it was all independent lines. Like I didn't write it vertically. I wrote it horizontally, where I wrote a line, then I wrote a line that complemented that line, wrote a line that complemented that line, and I think I doubled it, the violin one an octave lower. All right. So let me just play a little bit of that for you again, and also let me stretch out things a little more here. There we go, because that was, and you could see that these are. MIDI strings, but they're samples, So now, like when you do stuff, it sounds pretty darn real because you're actually using real samples. But of course, there's not the subtleties and perfect bowings and blah, blah, blah. But there's also not the cost and intonation problems and attitudes and other blah, blah, blah. So it's, it's a trade off. So here's a little bit more. So you can see there's no melody here. This is the background. I had a melody part, but I have the guitar player. This is all the background to the melody. And this is like a little second part now. Lots of lines moving. That's a little interesting harmonic thing. And the last chord is kind of interesting. Resolves. So there you go. I like to have some tension and release and some I don't want to say wackadoodle, but some close harmonies. And a lot of times I have an idea of what I want the chords to be. But sometimes when I start filling in notes, the chords are actually changing and filling themselves in, basically. So so that's that. And then here is the well, I guess I could just unmute these now, and you could hear the melody line with them. And the melody line I originally wrote this melody line as a first violin part. And when I first recorded it, I had a fiddle player come in and play that line. And eventually, unfortunately, all the stuff that she came in and did ended up on the cutting room floor because I kind of changed the whole concept from sort of intimate string quartet to guitar and orchestra. All right. Now here I'm trying to imitate some of the picking techniques of Jeff Beck. I did this all with fingers and no pick, and I don't have long enough fingers to use the volume swell, so I did that with a volume pedal. But here's the whole thing. Here's the thing together. So there you go. That sort of ends that first part, right? So then after that, I actually wanted to have a sort of like a blowing section where this was like a pretty little sort of melody statement, and then I wanted to kind of evolve into an improvised section. So I kind of kept the same harmony, like the same chords, if you want to think of it that way, the same chord changes, but I changed the whole vibe. I actually increased the tempo. The tempo actually speeds up in this part. This next part is a slightly faster tempo than the first part. And it's the same chord structure, but the strings are playing staccato now. So they're not bowing, they're plucking. All right. And uh, so check it out. So this is sort of a transition into the solo. All right. Tempo change, very slight. Okay, so you could hear that there's a lot of octaves, and some kind of like simple harmonies. It's not very dense harmonically. And it's got like a nice rhythmic vibe, because that's another thing. When you're composing, it's not like just vertical, it's also horizontal, it's rhythmic. And so here, I get much more from like this like legato long note kind of almost like, well, there's a time feeling in the beginning, but now we really start to get a time feeling, right? Right now, you're getting a feeling of time. It's kind of syncopated. Mm. So again, syncopation is just emphasizing the weaker beats, as opposed to the downbeats. But you'll notice I start on a downbeat, because establishing one helps you know when you go away from it, right? Uh. 3, 4, 1. So there you go. Now, from from here on in, it starts to get a little wacky. I'm going to mute the guitar solo for now, and let's just see how this builds. So now, what happens next? We bring in a pizzicato bass part. We add that, and the cellos look like they are imitating the pizzicato bass. And I also add in some other. What's going on here with these? It says more pizzicato, but I'm just curious. Oh yeah, they've been added, just filling out the other pit strings. Okay. And so then from here, this is where we slowly start to add other stuff, where we're adding our bass and our cello. They're probably an octave apart, would be my guess. Bass, pizzicato. Cellos, let's see, are they unison or an octave apart? Yeah, they're an octave apart. Interesting having pits and bowing at the same time. But probably as we keep going, I see now I've added. I kept the pits bass to give it a punch, but added arco bass to make it longer. And then coming up here, looks like I'm adding another bass part. Oh, a counter line. Okay, so now I'm adding a counter line. I bring these in. I should probably leave. Okay, so let me just keep going on this, bringing in this counter line. And now it looks like we got some more fiddles coming in. So I keep building it, right? I'm really into lines. I like lines to build harmony with. Now they get more backgroundy. And now they're going to reference before. So now we're referencing the A section because we're going to be working our way back to the A section, which we're going to do right here. So that's a nice here. Let me get back and see what's happening on the chat bar, because when I do this, I can't see the chat bar. So you guys still there? Bradley, you still there? Stefan, you still there? Anybody out there? If you're out there watching, please come on the chat bar and let me know that you're watching or whatever. Let me know you're there. What's interesting, people are watching on Facebook. There you go. Thanks, Stefan. And I thought that I was only streaming on YouTube. Very interesting. I'll have to look at that after. There's so many things that can go wrong or right every step of the way with doing these live streams. But I'm getting it together. And again, if you are watching that, if there's anybody out there watching, please come on the chat bar. Let me know that you're watching. And if you have any questions, please fire away. And any kind of question at all about anything, I'm happy to talk about and answer. All right, so now nothing's going to change for you, but for me, I'm flipping back to Logic. So now I'm going to go back. And you could see that I still have those staccato strings. They're happening all the way through. And let's see. I just want to see. Here they are. Okay. So now if I add in the staccato strings, and there seems that I added an extra cello part. So here's all the strings from this new section. See, so I'm slowly building it out. Counter lines. Adding the double bass arco. those staccato strings go through this whole thing, but they're kind of fading into the background. I'm not changing them. It's just that as things get added, they become less standing out, which is good. You know, they get absorbed into the just volume of instruments playing. There's like a whole, you know, string orchestra flailing away. And this is probably the biggest string section right now. And then we start, you know, hinting at that first part. And now all of a sudden we're going to drop way back. So that's pretty cool. And there's a whole bunch of stuff, though, that I left out. Let me come in here and add everything, because we haven't talked about any percussion stuff. You know, me being first started out as a drummer and got a special place in my heart for all things rhythmic, and especially like drums and percussion. And so I certainly did not look at all that drum stuff. Holy cow. Got a lot of drum stuff happening, but you'll notice it doesn't all happen at once, right? It happens during the solos. It starts coming in and building and changing and building. Oh, and then breaking off to nothing. Then doing something weird. Then doing something different at the end. All right, so the percussion adds yet another flavor, if you will. All right, so now check this out. I'm just going to go from here and listen what happens when we add percussion to this. And it's going to follow the same dynamic curve as the rest of the arrangement, as what's going on in the strings. It's going to start tiny and get gigantic. I love that bass drum. These are sampled drums, you know. This sounds like drum machine samples. There's actually some live stuff too. So you can see I add grooves right on top of each other. Now we get into just some straight up Jeff Becky rocking out. Still adding. And of course, what you're listening to is not mixed. I have a mixed version I can play for you too. See, now it breaks down. Okay, so now let's pop the guitar on top of all this. And so I'm just going to pop it on the this improvised section, because this is a chance for me to solo. Let's see, Glenn wrote polygrooves. Yeah, definitely. I'm kind of you know, being an improvising musician, I like to let things happen where, like, I'll find a bunch of drum grooves. I have a subscription to this, I don't know what you want to call it. It's like a web service that they have just thousands and thousands of samples and sounds and grooves and everything. And with a monthly subscription, you can download and use, you know, with license approval, anything you want. And so I'm really into finding things that I like, that I think are compatible. And sometimes I got to speed them up and slow them down or stretch them out. And it's really fun. It's kind of like, I call it like collage, where I'm just building stuff. Hey, Lisa Johnson is here, representing Philly, Philly in the playoffs. Is it the Mets that are playing Philly tomorrow? I think it is. Uh, let's see. Um, yeah. So yeah. So anyway, so I do that. I do that kind of collage vibe. So now I want to go back and now let's put in the guitar. So the guitar solo is 90% improvised, maybe 95%. But, I've transcribed and listened to tons of Jeff Beck. So I sort of made this up as I went, but I would do multiple takes, and I would keep doing takes until I was like, oh, I like this take. And so I don't know if I made any edits in the take. We should be able to see it here. If I made, yep, there you go. I made a little patch there, there. Yeah, so you could see that there might have been weak notes that I went and punched in, but the overall concept of the solo comes from a single pass that I feel is like a good performance, and then I go and fix any little sort of blemishes or hiccups or ghosted notes that I didn't mean to ghost. So here's the whole thing. Now laying the solo on top of this and trying again to kind of like honor Jeff Beck and like yeah, here it is. Yeah, dig it. So paying my respects to one of the great masters of the electric guitar. I did that on my Telecaster, which is actually the what Jeff Beck used way in the beginning when he was in the Yardbirds, and then he went over to the Les Paul, and then in the mid '70s he switched over full time to the Stratocaster. And so yeah, so there's the guitar solo. Now we got one more section to go through, and then we'll get to the intro, and then the kind of like wacky stuff that I like to do. I like all this stuff in here is a little something different. But here, let's get to the ending now, and you'll notice that the ending is very very similar to the beginning part I played for you, but well, you'll see. It's just a slightly bit different. That like I like to recap, but I don't just want to like cut and paste, like have like an exact A that's the same as the first A. So here, check it out. Oops, sorry. There we go. I didn't go back far enough. Okay. I got some light percussion in here that I didn't have in the beginning. Add a little more percussion. Nice last chord. Yeah. Cool. Now on the mix, I don't know if it fades here. I don't remember if I put a fade here. But when we mixed it down, we put a fade. Just like fades out into the night. All right. So now just two more things to do. And that is show you. I'm going to save the intro for last because really the intro I did after everything was done. So I did add some effects. And as you can see here, down here, it says tubular bells. So it's a requiem. So I was like, well, there should be like the church bells, And so I kind of have like a little vibe happening. Right? For whom the bell tolls. And then the song starts, blah blah blah. And let's see. What do I put in here? Do I have the bells in here? Yep, I do. So they come back in between the sections here. Oh, yes, and I also added in this says vocal choir. I don't really know what it is, but it's again, kind of like churchy sounding and weird. So check this out. It almost sounds like hallelujah. Sounds like nice. So I do that at the end, and I think that's it. I think that's all the wackiness. So I did that. I mixed. I went to my favorite studio, Raw Recording, and my man JC, and he did a great job mixing. And I came home and I listened to it. And I was like, it needs something. It needs an intro. And so I went and I wrote this intro. So now I'll play you the intro. The intro has tremolo strings, and what's interesting is it's just three parts. Violins, violas, cellos. But, these are sections. It's not like a violin, a viola, and a cello. These are like string sections. So check this out. So it's very harmonically, very simple, but the chord changes get pretty nutty. Not nutty, but you'll see. There's sort of like kind of like going around. Most of the time connecting by a whole or half step. Here comes the interesting chord. Ooh. And this is probably the most tense chord, and then it resolves, hopefully, to a less tense chord. There you go. So that last chord is probably the same harmony. Oops. Yeah, it's voiced differently, but it's the same harmony. And what's funny is I didn't write this out. So I'd have to figure out myself what these chords are. I don't really know. I just came home and just sat down and just wrote it. Like I didn't like write it out. Like I did when I couldn't play. I literally just wrote everything out. But when I went back and did this, I was able to play. So I just played it, and yeah. And so now here I'm going to add the guitar, and it's going to start, I think, with doing a reference to a Freeway Jam by Jeff Beck. But he never played it like this. It was like a rocking shuffle. But check it out. Now I take that little idea and I just run it through the changes. Most tense chord. And the bells. Yeah, so that was it, and that's all the work I did on that song. So you could see that doing a song it's a lot of work. I mean, it can be. I guess it could be as much work as you want it to be, but I started with this little string quartet that I wrote when my finger was healing and I was unable to play, and it turned into this Requiem. It's the title of the song, I think, is going to be Requiem, and then in parentheses for Jeff Beck. And it didn't really start. I didn't really start with that 100% in mind. But as I wrote it, it was, like sometimes when you write a song, if you pay attention, it tells you what to do and where to go. And so that's basically what I did. And let me see now here if I could come here. I'm just going to come over to here, and I'm going to see. There you go. So now I'm just here in my regular vibe. Now I feel bad I didn't put my little lights on back there. But here, check this out. Now I'm going to, probably shouldn't do this, but I'm doing it. Do it, do it, do it. Why? They'll never know. I'm gonna play it for you. The mix as it is. This I can't say that this is the final mix because it may not be the final mix. I don't know. But so far this is the this is the final mix right now. All right, so now we're going to just listen to the whole tune one time through, and then we're pretty much done. Unless you have any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Little space. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. Yes, indeedy do. And dippity do. Scooby Doo. Magic Mirror. Greetings. Who are you? Who's the Magic Mirror? All right. So, there you go. So that's the journey of one song. Now, obviously, that was a big orchestral undertaking, and sadly, no one told Jeff about symmetrical music. Well, I mean, Jeff, he, man, I don't think there's anything that guy didn't hear. Maybe, I don't know. To me, he was like really just amazing. I mean, and he just kept evolving and evolving. There's not many people that do that. Miles Davis did that for sure. Herbie Hancock did that for sure. These cats, they just kept moving forward, and going, not just sort of like, I mean, there's some players that, like, they hit a thing and that's like their thing, and they just stay in that year and time period forever. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with anything, but it's just what I'm drawn to is kind of like these artists that just keep exploring and just keep doing stuff. For me personally, I keep doing it not to prove anything, but just following my muse. I like so many different things, and things just happen. And when they happen, I write them down and I record them. And I don't worry about, oh, well, this isn't trad jazz, or this isn't really funk, or this is like some mush together of different styles, I don't I guess I just don't really think about that. It's all just music to me, and again, I just sort of follow my muse. And there's so many different things that I like, and I thought these Friday night get-togethers would be a great time to just share some of my sort of like experiences and how I do things and look at things, and and interact with you all. I really, I the reason why I do these as live streams is that I like having people write in the chat bar and ask me questions or give comments or talk to each other. I mean, it's all good. I do these shorter lessons. I do these little like tidbits that are like 6 or 7 minutes long, where I record them and put them up. But the live thing I really like. I just like interacting with y'all. And yeah. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I thank you very much. Been a great audience. I had a great time. I will be back next Friday night. I'm still working on a proper name for what it is I'm doing on Fridays, to try and attract more people to listen. BVS. Thank you. Yes, it's all music. That's right. There's good music and there's bad music, and it's like every genre has some stuff that's just killer, and then has some other stuff that's kind of like meh, pedestrian, or chasing a trend or whatever. But yeah, there's deep music in every genre, and cool stuff to check out. But anyway, I'm trying to, thanks Lisa. I'm trying to come up with just a better title for what I do. And I'm going to keep experimenting with this. So I hope that you keep coming back on Fridays. And of course, every Tuesday, I do, it's Tuesday Night Live, live, live. And that's all about playing, where I pick a composer or a style or something, and genre, and I do about an hour and a half of playing, and again chatting it up in the chat bar. And if you have any requests and I can do them, I'm happy to do them. I do a lot of seasonal stuff, so we're getting into the Halloween thing, and yeah, so it's fun. That bit, that Tuesday night thing, I've been doing since the COVID lockdown, and so that's got its own legs. And this thing is new, and I'm again really trying to come up with a name for it that describes what I do, to try and get people to come and check it out. So if you have any ideas, let me know, and please spread the word. That would be great. And I will see you Tuesday on YouTube and all the other social media stuff. And I will be back on Friday doing the same thing. So until then, have a great weekend. How about that? Have a great weekend. And I will see you all next week. Until then, I wish you love, peace, and peace, sorry, and just a little bit of chicken grease. You know what I mean?